The year is 2447. The sterile hum of the Copernicus monitoring station, a lonely outpost perched on the edge of explored space, was the soundtrack to Axel Reed's life. Or rather, his half-life. Ever since the Prometheus disaster, Axel had been a ghost, haunting the fringes of the scientific community, a pariah blamed for a tragedy he still didn't fully understand. His once brilliant career had been reduced to monitoring the desolate void, listening for whispers from the great unknown. Most of the time there was only silence. Tonight, however, was different. A faint, almost imperceptible signal, buried deep within the cosmic static, caught his attention. It was a rhythmic pulse, complex and undeniably artificial. Axel leaned forward. His blue eyes, usually clouded with a haunted weariness, were now blazing with focused intensity. He ran the signal through the station's aging processors, his fingers flying across the console. A familiar tremor in his left hand was the only outward sign of his rising excitement. "Arcadia?" he muttered, recognizing the signal's origin. But that's impossible. The Arcadia system was the destination of the Starseed, a colony ship that vanished centuries ago without a trace. All hands were presumed lost. A tragic footnote in the annals of space exploration. Could this be a ghost signal of the Starseed? A whisper emitted centuries ago reaching out across the light years? He isolated the signal, filtering out the noise. It was fragmented, broken, like a message shattered into a million pieces and scattered across the void. Days turned into weeks as Axel, fueled by black coffee and a rekindled obsession, meticulously pieced the fragments back together. He barely slept, barely ate, driven by a force he hadn't felt since the Prometheus. He was a man possessed, working in the shadow of his past disgrace. He had to know if the crew of the Starseed had made it to their destination. The United Earth Space Agency was skeptical. They saw it as a waste of resources, a ghost chase led by a disgraced scientist. "We closed the book on Starseed a long time ago, Dr. Reed," the UESA director had told him, his voice laced with thinly veiled contempt. Let it go. But Axel couldn't. Not this time. He saw a chance for redemption, a chance to prove that he wasn't the failure they all thought he was. Using back channels and calling in every favor he had left, he finally secured a meeting with the UESA board. He presented his findings. His voice was hoarse but passionate. His eyes were burning with conviction. "This isn't just static," he argued, pointing to the complex patterns on the screen. "This is a message, a distress signal, perhaps, or a beacon. We owe it to the Starseed crew, to their families, to ourselves to find out what happened." To his surprise, they agreed. Perhaps it was the sheer audacity of his request, or perhaps it was the faint but undeniable hope that flickered in his eyes. Whatever the reason, Axel found himself, against all odds, in command of a new expedition. The ship, a state-of-the-art vessel christened the Seeker, was a far cry from the aging rust bucket he'd commanded on the Prometheus. His crew was hand-picked, a mix of seasoned veterans and eager young scientists. Captain Lena Reyes, a tall, athletic woman with a commanding presence and a reputation for unwavering competence, eyed him with a mixture of respect and caution. Dr. Kenji Tanaka, the mission's chief science officer, a meticulous and cautious xenobiologist, adjusted his glasses and peered at Axel with an unreadable expression. They, like everyone else, knew about his past. As they prepared for the jump to Arcadia, the final piece of the fragmented message was deciphered. A single word, stark and chilling, echoed through the Seeker's bridge. "Beware." The jump to faster-than-light travel was always a disorienting experience. One moment, you were surrounded by the familiar stars. The next, you were hurtling through a swirling vortex of colors that defied description. Axel gripped the armrest of his command chair, his knuckles white, his gaze fixed on the chaotic spectacle outside. The faces of his lost Prometheus crew flashed before his eyes, their voices a silent accusation in the back of his mind. He pushed down the rising fear. This time would be different. This time he would succeed. Entering Arcadia system in 60 seconds, Captain Reyes announced, her voice calm and steady. Axel took a deep breath, the single word of warning echoing in his mind. "Beware," he whispered, more to himself than to anyone else. Beware of what? The Seeker lurched as it exited hyperspace. In front of them, bathed in the blue glow of the Arcadia sun, hung a small blue and green planet, New Eden, the lost colony, and, perhaps, answers. Or, perhaps, something else entirely. Axel felt a chill down his spine. The Seeker hung in orbit around New Eden and sent a silent sentinel gazing down upon a world that held both promise and a chilling sense of mystery. The planet was a vibrant tapestry of blues and greens, a testament to the terraforming efforts of the original colonists. From this distance, it looked serene, untouched. A scouting team, led by Axel, consisted of himself, Captain Reyes, Dr. Tanaka, and a small security detail was assembled. They boarded a shuttle and descended towards the Starseed's original landing site. It was a large clearing, a few kilometers from the main settlement, named Unity. As they broke through the cloud cover, the first signs of abandonment became apparent. Fields, once meticulously cultivated, lay overgrown and wild. Roads, designed for heavy traffic, were cracked and choked with vegetation. "No signs of life," Captain Reyes reported, her voice tight with tension as she expertly piloted the shuttle. "No movement, no energy signatures, nothing." They landed without incident. The silence that greeted them was profound, almost oppressive. It was the silence of a place where life had once thrived, but had now moved on, leaving behind only echoes and whispers. Unity was a ghost town. Buildings constructed from prefabricated materials stood in neat rows, their surfaces weathered but intact. Personal belongings were scattered everywhere: clothes, tools, children's toys, as if the colonists had simply vanished in the middle of their daily routines. It was as if time had stopped, but not in a peaceful way. There was a subtle wrongness to the scene, a feeling that something was deeply amiss.